Good evening, morning, night, afternoon, whenever you find a way to watch this podcast. This is me, Omar Shanti Borhat, the Burger Popper, and I'm just cramming in some last minute stuff, last minute content before championship weekend, before the bowl games get announced on Sunday. And joining me is my friend and recurring guest on the podcast, Nathan Dailey, a big Navy fan. So Nathan, how's everything going?
Going good, Omar. How about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. Just busy this week, just cramming everything in, kind of getting into a flow. But I just love this time of year, as I've reiterated on a previous podcast this week. So yeah, I'm just excited to get into talking about Army and Navy's bowl destinations, as well as some of the all conference selections from both teams in the American Conference.
All right. No, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it myself. So
Yeah, so starting off for like bowl destinations, of course, Navy did not make the conference championship game, so the playoff is not an option at the moment. But otherwise, like, where do you see Navy bowling ideally? And I guess what's your ideal bowl opponent for the midshipmen?
so obviously, as a Navy fan, I'm disappointed we didn't make the conference championship. That was something I was really hoping for this year, and needed some things to go our way the last couple weeks, but didn't happen. And congrats to North Texas and Tulane. I think that's gonna be a great game tonight, and also congrats to Eric Morris and John Summerall on their new coaching jobs. I think those are slam dunk hires in this coaching carousel. But um, at the end of the day, even though we didn't make the conference title game, it was still been a great season for Navy, and you know, gotta gotta give a shout out to those guys for last 2 weeks. I mean, beating South Florida and beating Memphis last week, and I mean that second half they just manhandled them, and it was awesome. It was just good old fashioned Navy football at the end. There it was a fun sight to see. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was interesting to watch too. Like, I was surprised by the Navy team that I saw play on Thanksgiving, because they're usually just so explosive on offense. And just looking at the box score too, it looks more like an army box score. I think the total carries that Navy had on offense was 66 carries for 200 yards, around like less than 3.5 yards per carry, but it got the job done. It churned clock, and it took advantage of Memphis's mistakes and everything. So just a very good performance to show the versatility of that scheme that Drew Cronick has installed there at Navy, and he's staying too. He's been in the hunt for a couple of jobs. And I know we said we wouldn't really talk much about the coaching carousel, but I know that UAB had interest, rightfully so. But it just shows how great of a system that he has in place at the Naval Academy.
absolutely, and I'm super glad that he's staying around. And just listening to interviews, you know, that he does. I mean, he seems to love the Naval Academy, love what it represents, and I'm not totally surprised by it. You know, I could see him leaving down the line, but hopefully it's a long time from now, and maybe never, and maybe he'll just be the heir apparent when Brian Newberry decides to be done, depending on how long he stays. So
Yeah, well, his kids want to go to the. Well, he already has a son. It's a long snapper on the on the roster right now, who is a freshman. So that's a few more years of time that he should be there, and then he has another child that wants to go, from what I hear, to the Naval Academy. So he'll probably be there for a while. Which is good for Navy, bad for Army. But
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
work around it.
maybe they got to sell a couple submarines and bump his pay up or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or boost the fundraising for the Naval Athletic Association, or
There
Naval
we go.
Academy Athletic Association.
Yeah,
Um, so for bowl games, I currently, my projections I have, and this I've seen disappointment from a lot of people around the Navy sphere, Navy X/Twitter sphere, where with the military bowl in Annapolis, it just makes the most sense, honestly, and I understand their frustrations. I understand the frustration of just staying home for bowl season and not going to a destination game. But I think that the Military Bowl not having hosted the Naval Academy since 2017 is a huge factor in this, and just the ability for them to play an ACC team. And I have them playing a 8-4 Wake Forest squad, or I think Wake Forest is 8-4 according to standings. I just have to check again. I've been playing Wake Forest though, just with all the bowls of how they shake down. Yeah, so I've been playing 8-4 Wake Forest, which ironically, was the first ever matchup in the Military Bowl's history back when it was the Eagle Bank Bowl at RFK Stadium. But I could also see the Liberty Bowl making a move on Navy as Navy last played in that bowl game in 2019. And the midshipmen, of course, are a strong draw television wise. I think there's a naval air base near Memphis as well, or something like that. I think there's naval air base near Memphis from doing research. But I mean, in that game, I currently have Cincinnati out of the Big 12 playing that game. So either way, I think Navy finds its way to have a marquee opponent. But I just think that a lot of Navy fans probably want to go somewhere for bowl season instead of just stay at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of the fans out there. Not that I think the Military Bowl's a bad bowl. Like you said, you get to play a power conference opponent, and the benefit is it's a home game for Navy. It's at the home stadium, which is a bonus. But I'm one of those guys that unless you're making the playoff or back in the old days, when we had the um, you know ECS bowls, like when they before they were actually playoff game sites. If you weren't one of those, I personally I like going to a different bowl game every year you're eligible, but um, probably won't work out that way. I mean, it'll probably either be the Military Bowl or Armed Forces Bowl, which been good bowl games for all the service academies, and it always brings you a quality power conference opponent. But um, I could see the Liberty Bowl, which I'd be excited about. That's an iconic bowl game. Um, I've also kind of may wondered if maybe the Fenway Bowl, but the Military Bowl also I wouldn't be opposed to because it's on a weekend and I'd actually be able to watch it because with my work schedule it'd be hard to do some of these weeknight bowl games. So I'm hoping for a weekend bowl game. So if the Tim Fernetti, the conference commissioner, can be listening to this, make sure we're in a weekend bowl game. So
Yeah, that's a reasonable request, honestly. But yeah, the Fenway Bowl too. That one's interesting. So I tend to think that the loser of North Texas Tulane will go to that one, just because in 2023 the American Conference champion SMU went to the Fenway Bowl when they didn't make the playoff, when it was Liberty, or not the playoff, when they didn't make the New Year's Six, when Liberty represented the group of five in the New Year's Six in 2023. And then in 2022, the loser of the conference championship game, or not the loser, it was Cincinnati that almost made the conference championship game, but played in the Fenway Bowl in 2022. So that one is also realistic too. I think everything just depends on how the playoff shakes down and how the conference championship ends up happening. I guess the only certainty that there is with the Military Bowl is that East Carolina will not participate in it since they played last year. So I mean that's a little tiny bit of the picture being cleared, but not much. But it's all speculation. You can ask a million people and get a million different answers as to who's going to play in what bowl. We've already seen that, so it's just so great to speculate. So going on to Army, I think Army is kind of more clear in terms of where they're going to go bowling because they're not going to bowl in one of the Americans' premier bowl tie-ins, whether it be the Fenway Bowl, the Military Bowl. So that leaves the ESPN bowl games that the Americans tied to, and the ones that are after Christmas in particular, with those being the First Responder Bowl, the Birmingham Bowl, which is on December 29th. The First Responder Bowl is on December 26th. And then the Armed Forces Bowl is on January 2nd. There's plenty of other ESPN bowls before Christmas, but that's not optional because Army Navy is on December 13th. So out of those, I think that Army will go to the Armed Forces Bowl just because they haven't been to that bowl game since 2021. And I think that they'll play Washington State, with them being the other kind of odd team out there in the Pac-12, out of the old Pac-12 members that doesn't really have a bowl destination. I don't think while the Potato Bowl makes sense to put Washington State in, they did play Boise State last year in Boise, so it doesn't make too much. I mean, it's kind of too repetitive, but I think Army plays Washington State in the Armed Forces Bowl, and I think that's just a great matchup too. That's just an opportunity to get a win over a brand name school, and the first time that we would have beaten a Pac-12 or a member of the core Pac-12 since I want to say the 1980s, I think, when we beat Stanford. I think it was like 81 or 80, but it's been a while since we've beaten an actual Pac-12 member. So I guess what do you think of just Army's potential bowl destinations?
Yeah, I could see any of those. I read an article, I think it was on ESPN, their bowl projections. I know they also had them playing Clemson, which I think that'd be kind of a fun matchup too. I want to say it was the Armed Forces Bowl. They had them playing that. I saw one with them, and then I've seen, like you said, Washington State. I've heard that one too. So
Yeah, I think Clemson is less likely just excuse me, just based on location because I think with ESPN, even though they like to create the matchups based on television, they also like to create matchups that make sense for fans, so the Bulls can make money from an attendance standpoint. The example last year was with Oklahoma playing the Armed Forces Bowl against Navy. Good matchup on paper, and then also a very close proximity matchup for very close proximity matchup for the teams, especially for Oklahoma. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I would welcome any opponent, any Power Five, Power Four, / Power Five opponent, but I mean, I wouldn't mind a Group of Five team that we don't see, in a while, especially like especially like Fresno State, or even like a Louisiana or Utah State. Any of those schools, I'd be down for.
yeah, no, I was going to say even for Navy, like a team that I've been thinking in my head I'd love to play is like a James Madison if they don't make the playoff. I think it'd be fun because obviously them, Navy, North Texas, Tulane, they've all been kind of the front runners for the G5 most of the year, and I think it'd be fun to go toe to toe with one of the top G5 teams in college football, like a James Madison. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I think that's kind of there are kind of two schools of thought where it's like if you're a Group of Five team, do you want to play the best in the Group of Five, or do you want to play a mediocre Power Four team / Power Flash former Pac-12 team that is likely checked out, likely ravaged by the transfer portal? So it's definitely a two schools of thought, like two sides of the coin. There, two philosophies, but either way, I don't think you can go wrong because a bowl game is a bowl game in the end.
yeah, nope, I agree. And yeah, I think another team that I think would be kind of fun to play too is UConn.
Oh yeah, man.
Have a fun regional matchup. Two Northeast schools, Navy and UConn, and obviously, I don't know what's going to happen with UConn with obviously Coach Mora leaving for Colorado State, but you know, with the portal stuff, that's always the thing that kind of, especially these days, I get a little worried about. Is how many of the players are actually going to play in the game, and with the obviously coaches leaving too. So
Yeah, exactly. Um, so I mean, it's just a different time with bowl season too. Like we see too with Kansas State, looking to possibly turn down a bowl bid. Right now, they're in the stages of consulting with the Big 12 conference. That's just where we are. Where it's getting harder to assemble a team. If there's coaching changes, if there's portal changes, but we'll see. I guess whatever teams take the field in all 41 bowls, like 41 or 42 in all 42 bowls, is whoever takes the field, and we'll just let the results sort themselves out.
yeah, yeah, I sure hope we don't have what we had happen last year, especially with like Army, like great season they had last year, having to having their matchup be lost with Marshall and then having to play a um, team of losing record. I mean, obviously, you guys still got an opponent. You won the game, which is great and a great way to cap off the season. But I feel like as a competitor, you still want to play a top tier team, and I uh, I I I felt for Army a lot last year with that whole situation. But I'm sure they were still happy they got the play in. They played a heck of a game, and great to see Bryce and Dailey go out on a high note.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, so it's unfortunate, but I think the college football postseason is gonna adjust accordingly. But only time will tell. I just got it. I think we all as fans just have to take it one day at a time.
Yep.
So because things change one thing or another in this new NIL world.
But
Um, so going on to the all conference selections, both, of course, Army and Navy had selections for the American all conference teams. Looking at it, Navy had more players in general on all across the first, second, third, and honorable mention teams. Army also had a few selections as well. For me, the selections that caught my eye that I was interested in, of course, were the Army guys, of course, with Brady Small making first team. Brady Small being one of the most durable players in college football. I think he's up to 37 consecutive starts at center. Really, really anchored things down with a lot of turnover on last year's Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. For Army, and then on defense on the second team, Andon Thomas made it, just an outstanding linebacker, just really the backbone of the defense with 96 tackles and up the middle at middle linebacker. A surprise for me was the third team with Jack Bowsam. He is definitely an emerging pass rusher. He is probably Army's best pass rusher on a pass rush that has struggled a lot of the year to get pressure on the quarterback, but he had 3 sacks and 6.5 tackles for a loss. Definitely a rising star for the Black Knights. And then honorable mention to cap it off, Casey Larkin, who has 2 interceptions on the year, and he flies over the place at safety. He's just a really quality safety. And Army seems to have just great safeties in general, just going back to Markel Broughton a couple years ago, then Max DiDomenico last year, capping off just being a long-time starter, now Casey Larkin and Colin Matheson, who I think also could have been honorable mention with how he's performed this year. For Navy, I will say before I hand it to you, I thought it was cool to see Eli Heidenreich make second team wide receiver for all conference, just with the year that he's had 20 yards a catch, 805 receiving yards, and 409 rushing yards. And then Alex Teska, of course, as well, making second team. That kind of surprised me with 772 yards and 9 touchdowns. I think both those surprised me, especially Heidenreich. I don't think Navy's had a receiver make any all-conference team, which I'd have to look. I don't think they've had a receiver make any all-conference team since they've been in the conference. But I'll hand the floor to you. I mean, your thoughts on Army and Navy's American Conference all-conference selections?
Yeah. As far as Navy goes, I was a little shocked that Eli wasn't first team. He had a really good year and definitely was one of our most explosive players. And I was a little surprised he didn't make first team. Shout out to Landon Robinson, defensive player of the year. That dude's a dog. And I hope the NFL gives him a shot because I think he's a stud and I think he's got a lot of upside. And glad Blake Horvath got honored. Another one of those guys. I think he got third team all conference from what I remember. But I'm glad he got on it this year. But in his defense, he had tough competition. North Texas quarterback. I know he was conference player of the year and he definitely deserved it. Teams in the conference title and he probably was the best quarterback in the league overall, but Blake was right up there. And I would have liked to have seen him at least get second team, but overall Navy had a lot of guys on the all conference team. I know one of our offensive linemen made it, and I think our long snapper got special teams player of the year. I don't know if you got it in front of you, Omar. I can't remember his name, but
yeah, I'm looking for. I was just focusing on the teams, but yeah, Landon Robinson, of course, well-deserved defensive player of the year for special teams. I think I did see that. Oh, deep snapper of the year, Rain Fry. Yeah, I meant to mention him because, yeah, like Navy just continues to produce great long snapping talents with Joe Cardona still being in the league after such a long time, and now Rain Fry with everyone taking notice or the conference taking notice of how good he's been as a deep snapper. But I will say though, I think second team is the right place for Heidenreich, just given by the fact that he only had 40 receptions. And you just look at the guys across the conference, just having I think Easton, I forget his last name, but I'll have to look it up. But FAU had a receiver that had 104 catches this year. And then, of course, Wyatt Young for North Texas had over 1,000 receiving yards and almost 20 yards of reception. Sorry, I'm finding the name of that receiver. Easton Messer. Yeah, I almost said Easton Mestmaker. Easton Messer had 104 receptions. So I just think that there's just a lot of receiving talent. The same thing at the quarterback position. Like, of course, Drew Mestmaker is going to be your first team guy, but Byron Brown had he had a 3,000, 1,000 year. It's really hard to beat. So I think Horvath is in the right place, honestly. As tough as it is.
I'm not surprised. I guess he got ranked where he did. I mean, last year I think he totally got screwed. I mean, I was shocked Blake didn't even get honorable mention last year. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that was a shocker I think to everybody last year. But glad he's on there this year. And yeah, tough competition, especially at quarterback and a lot of positions. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, the Americans got a lot of high flying offenses, and so it makes it tough. But glad to see the representation though for Navy and for Army too. On the all conference and was super pumped though about Landon Robinson. That was fun to see. And I know he's an Outland Trophy candidate. I don't know if he's actually going to be one of the top 3 candidates anymore, but I know he was in the running for that. But
Yeah, he was a semifinalist, and I definitely think he's a pro-ready talent. I think the only thing is like I'm not sure if what the stipulation is for the pros. I read Bill Wagner's article for I think the U.S. Navy Institute that said that the current policy is three service academy graduates. I don't know if that's on a per year basis or that's just in a rolling period.
Mhm.
Can pursue professional athletics. There's already one with Raywan Lane. I think there's a goalie in the MLS that's playing, or the MLS in Major League Soccer that's playing. That was a service academy grad. So I don't know if it's 3 per year or if it's 3 during a rolling period, but that's definitely a story to watch because Landon Robinson is definitely a pro talent.
yeah, and I know Eli. He got invited to the I think the East West Shrine game. I know he's got
Yes.
invited to that, so he's definitely a prospect too. And I've always kind of wondered about Blake if he would get a shot. I don't know if he will. I mean, I think Blake's got a good arm, but I, obviously, I feel like people will hold the option thing against him, and it'd be cool to see him get a shot, as a free agent, maybe get a tryout in someone's camp. But I've always been, I don't know if he's totally an NFL quarterback, but you know,
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure he is either, honestly, but it'll be interesting too. Like he definitely will get, a free agency look, probably a free agency look. I don't want to rule out him being drafted, but I will say that he's probably the best passer that Navy's had in years, and he
yeah,
has put some balls in some beautiful throwing windows throughout the year. I mean, especially
yeah,
the deep balls to Heidenreich. So I'm not going to rule him out as a passer.
yeah,
I just don't know about what the NFL looks for in the draft process for a
yeah,
prospective college quarterback. But I hope he plays an All-Star game. I know Bryson Dailey wasn't able to play an All-Star game just because he didn't really fit any of the, I guess, a pro scheme. So that kind of kept him out. But I mean, I hope he does get to play an All-Star game, whether it be one of the smaller ones like the Tropical Bowl or the Dream Bowl in Dallas that's coming up. That is on the rise, or one of the bigger bowls, whether it be like the East West Shrine game, which I think is unlikely, or the Senior Bowl is definitely probably unlikely. But I hope he does make an All Star game.
yeah. No, I do too. I think he's definitely earned that right, and yeah, I mean, and I think the thing that'll hurt Blake too. I mean, he's not a very big guy, and I know, especially last year, not as much this year, but last year he had a lot of usually being out of games and stuff, and that probably is what affected him even with all conference. But not the biggest guy, but I agree with you though. I mean, his arm is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
heck of a passer. I mean, he's definitely probably the best passer they've had probably since probably Ricky Dobbs or Keenan. So
Yeah, I'd say possibly even better. I'd have
yeah,
to look at how good Ricky Dobbs was throwing the ball. But I remember him differently as more as a runner than as a passer.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely for a long time.
yeah. That's crazy how long ago that's been already. I was in like high school when he was playing. So
Oh yeah, yeah. But I think that covers everything that we had beforehand. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Nathan, before we sign off?
um, yeah, just I guess what are what are your thoughts on the couple of the bowl matchups that have been announced? I heard Hawaii and Cal are playing in the Hawaii Bowl, and then I think Arkansas State and is it
The
Old
Missouri
Dominion.
State,
Okay,
Missouri State.
yeah, and then I think South Florida and Old Dominion are playing in a bowl too right now. I think we got
Yeah,
3. So, what are your thoughts on those matchups?
yeah. I mean, I like those matchups. I like all of them. I think I predicted Old Dominion to go to the Cure Bowl anyways, being a 9-win team. I think that the USF game is a great game for both conferences, standing and reputation. I mean, you got one of the top teams in the Sun Belt, one of the top teams in the American, and then you get them together in the Cure Bowl at a great venue too, the Citrus Bowl Stadium or Camping World Stadium. So I think that's my favorite of the three that's been announced. But man, like I like the Xbox Bowl, Arkansas State, Missouri State. It's a good matchup with a regional flavor to it. Fan bases that are nearby. I just hope that they can make it with that game being on a Thursday night. But I think that's a great matchup too, especially Missouri State. Like what an incredible job that they've done in their first year in Conference USA. And then finally too, I think it's so great that a Power 4 team, Power 5 team is going to the islands in a day and age where it's so rare to get teams to go to Hawaii, to get Power 4 teams to go to Hawaii, just with everything in the playoff, where, you know, the 12-team playoff makes it less beneficial to take on an extra game. And then, of course, there's a travel aspect, too, with how spread out these conferences are. It's just a win for college football to see a team like Cal play in the Hawaii Bowl, play in Hawaii, and especially with a Hawaiian quarterback
Yep.
in Jaren Kiawe Sakapoloteli, who has had an amazing freshman year. The points will fly. Like Micah Alihado and Jaren Kiawe Sakapoloteli, like that is must-see TV on Christmas Eve. So get your eggnog, get your hot chocolate, whatever your flavor is. Like, so I like them all. Like, I'm just getting so excited. There should be a couple more announced today, I think. I think one more announced. Well, maybe not, because the LA Bowl depends on the Mountain West Championship, so it might get announced tomorrow. But yeah, I'm just excited for just all the bowl games, and it's just cool that we're just getting little tastes.
Yeah. No, I think that when I saw that Cal Hawaii matchup, I thought that was cool, especially with Nick Rolovich being the interim coach, and obviously him being a former Hawaii quarterback and former coach there. I'm sure that's going to be a fun game for the Hawaii fans, and I'm sure for him too. I mean, maybe a little hard on him too, because it's an alma mater and former team he coached, but I think that's going to be a fun matchup on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's still on Christmas Eve, isn't it? Because I know
it
that.
is on Christmas Eve. As
Okay,
long as it's not on a Sunday, I want to say it's on Christmas Eve or a
okay.
Sunday or a Monday. That's when they move it off.
That was always as a kid, that was always one of those classic games. I remember watching Timmy Chang back in the day in the Hawaii Bowl, and good memories.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I enjoyed it too, honestly. Yeah, so it's still probably one of my favorite bowls. Um, it's just got a recognizable time slot and everything. You can't beat that as a bowl game. Just a recognizable time slot or a recognizable network, not recognizable, but a network that that is just unique to your bowl game. Like the Sun Bowl has CBS. I think those are the two things that set bowl games apart.
Yeah. No, and I think, if you're not, like I said, if you're not a player, if you're a player and you're not going to the playoff, I mean, what a great way to end your season to go to a state like Hawaii and, play a football game. I mean, to me, as a player, that'd be cool. And, yeah, if I'm the Arkansas State players and the Missouri State, I'd be pumped too to go to the Xbox Bowl, because I'm assuming they'll get a free Xbox. So.
I don't know about that. Xboxes are pretty expensive. Maybe we'll get an Xbox Live membership at least,
Yeah, or that.
whatever it's called nowadays, whatever they call
Yeah.
Xbox Live. But yeah, until next time. Well, Nathan, I guess is there anything else that you want to add before we sign off?
Go Navy, beat Army next week.
I'm gonna have to edit that one out, but thank you again, Nathan, for being flexible. I know that we talked beforehand just with everything that's happening. I mean, it's just been crazy. But for everyone listening to, enjoy championship weekend. And until next time, everyone, peace, love, and soul on the Burger Popper, and Lord bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you, and be gracious to you. Goodbye.